All right, good morning, everyone. It is June the 3rd, 2021, and this is my morning strategy session. There isn't a heck of a lot going on today as far as the scanners are concerned. There's a little bit to watch. Monday was a really great day. There was a lot going on Monday, and it's nice when there are a lot of candidates. Because the more candidates you have, the more likelihood of successful trades will pop up. So here's BB or BlackBerry, and BlackBerry is another one of these what they're calling meme stocks like GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry. There are a couple more, and I've forgotten what they are, but essentially. I've got a lot of levels. Pardon me. I've got a lot of levels on BlackBerry, and these date back quite a bit. So let's take a look here real quick. I'll go to the daily, and you can see here this. Yeah, right now, if it were to open right now, it would open up at $17.77, which is in this gap from way back in 2018. Let's kind of go back here and we'll take a look at this gap. Pretty slim gap, but the trading is happening accordingly. So technically speaking, this gap right here between the 15th of September 2011 and the 16th of September 2011. So if I were to use this gap right here, and it's a good gap. I mean, it's a big gap. It's from roughly $29 all the way down to $24. Let's see, actually 17. Oh, I'm in a different gap. All right, well, okay. So there's this small gap up right here at 24. We'll call it 2460. All right. So there's going to be resistance from all the way from 2011 that's in play. And 2129. So let's go forward again here. Let's open it back up, and we'll find the gap where the price is sort of range bound at the moment. Okay, so let's see. That's a recent range. Then let's see. This is the daily. Yeah, and it's right in this range right here. What is going on? Oh, you know what? I know what this is. These are levels that I put on earlier, and they're from a gap up. This actually, I remember I traded this. I remember trading this now. So on this day right here, I put a Fibonacci on for the open, and my Fibonacci's came out to, that's at 1782 and then 1589. Pretty big range there. So today I'm just going to use these old levels as a guide and treat it as a momentum trade. With the momentum trade, I'll be looking for the next highest candle. If it breaks the opening price, if it opens, dips down, and then comes back up and breaks the opening price, that's an entry. If it has two candles down at the open on the 1 minute chart, and there's a 2 minute down, the first candle that it breaks to the upside, that's an entry. There's all sorts of momentum plays. And I will be using these lines as kind of a guide, like for entries and exits. So to kind of go over it here, just kind of get a large view here. You can see pre-market, it came down, so there's 1589, and actually the price came down pre-market to roughly that area and found support. And went up to this 1782 line where it almost is now, roughly, and found resistance. I'll be using these lines as a guide, and actually even pre-market here also. Pre-market, it went all the way up to 2160 here. You can see over here it went up to 2160, and found resistance there and kind of guided down, found a little bit of support at 1953, and then continued to just kind of guide down, where then found a bounce between 1782 and 1747, and then took another dive down, came back, tested it again, actually, this 1589 level, and is now breaking its way above this little range right here. So there ought to be some interesting action on BB today. We'll see what it does when it opens. I'm not, unless there's a really nice, clean, obvious setup on BlackBerry, I'm not likely to trade it today. This might be just for spectator sport for me today. We'll see. But yeah, definitely want to look for clean, highly probable setups on BB. And the reason that I'm going to go for momentum strategy is because there is going to be relatively large volume on BB today, but the shares outstanding are 565 million, and BB has an outstanding, or I'm sorry, has a float of 557 million shares. So it's got an enormous float. A little bit of activity can go a long way with a float like that, but it's not the same as a small float that's like around a float of, say, 10 million or so. So yeah, let's see, it's really starting to pop up a bit here after it broke back above that level right there. As I'm speaking, it's made about a 60-cent run. All right, the ESTC. Now this is one that I'm more likely to trade, but ESTC only has 27,000 shares traded right now on 90 million shares outstanding. I don't have the float in front of me. I don't have it on my scanner. And so my levels on ESTC are 127.98 and 126.12. Now, what might happen here is that as we get closer to the open, the price might dip down and open below my support levels. And if it does that, then the trade is off the table. If it opens up below my price levels, my support levels, then it's then resistance, and it's no longer support. So we'll see how it opens. All right, so the next up, JZXN. This is a recent IPO. I don't see any news on JZXN other than there's a headline that says, hey, JZXN's popping up today. But it's up 41.57% pre-market. And you can see here, it IPO'd on the 18th of May. And so it looks like it's just kind of making a technical bounce here. What I do with it really just depends on the technicals, really depends on the price action. It has a total common shares outstanding or 20, roughly we'll call it 21 million. And it's not registering a float on trade ideas. So I don't know what the float is, but yeah, it's definitely lower than ESTC or BB. So I'll keep an eye on JZXN for an entry, for a momentum trade entry. Then there's GTT. GTT, did this one have? Okay, so they have news from April 21st. And also GTT, I remember I looked up GTT on Street Smart Edge, and the only thing Street Smart Edge said was, hey, this thing's popping up today. It didn't give any particular reason why it's popping up. I think this isn't a recent IPO or anything. I mean, this thing's really suffering. It hit a high back here in March of 2018 of about $63, and it's just been on the slide downward ever since, really. So why it's catching a bid today, I don't know. But I'll just pay attention to it for momentum setups. And I'll pay attention, I'll watch it on the 1 minute chart here for momentum setups. The SPY, so we're getting a bit of a dip in the SPY, and I'd really like to see the SPY correct. So down here we have a gap. This gap is from April 1st to April 5th. And after that long weekend, it gapped up. The SPY opened up higher and hasn't come down to fill the gap yet. And I'd really like to see, before the SPY can continue higher, I'd like to see it come down, fill the gap, and then move away again, and then start moving into new all-time highs. That's what I would like to see. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen by any stretch of the imagination. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm still bullish. Although we've just bumped into roughly the same price range here and are trading away from it again. So I would really like to see a pullback down here to 400, and then another move higher after that, which would put things very bullish for me. The VIX right now, if it opened up right now, it would open up at 18.7, which is inside of this gap. This gap right here between these two dotted white lines is a gap from the end of February 2020, when the cerveza sickness created shutdowns, and the S&P and everything essentially behaved according to what you'd expect after the economy is shut down. So this is the fear index. So there's a gap back here, and the gap is between 18.2 and 22. And so we've come back into the gap here after dipping below it again. And I was really I put on a couple of small trades on the bullish side on the S&P for this dip, thinking that it would probably be a dip that would continue to extend down and really break into a down movement on the VIX on a trending basis, really start to sort of exercise its trend. However, it's not doing it. So I'm doing what the market is doing. We've gone back into a rather choppy range here on the VIX, and we'll be trading the SPY accordingly, given the relative strength indexes, and so in this range right here, I'm more bullish if it's in the bottom of the range of the gap, and I'm more bearish if it's near the top of the range of the gap. Intraday, as things begin developing and I see a bounce off the top of the gap, I'll get more bullish at the top of the gap. For right now, I'm looking for it to move back to the top of the gap, which would be an inverse move on the SPY. And I'd like to see the SPY come all the way down here to 400. So that's a bias that I get to let go of when it actually comes time to trade. When it comes time to trade, I'll be looking for, congruent movement. I should say, well, it's congruent in that I'll be looking for opportunities to go long the SPY when it gets oversold on both the 1 minute and the 10 minute. My charts are on the 5 minute. I must have been watching something. I saved something on the 5 minute. And I was watching something. It must have been a VWAP trade. There must have been something yesterday that I was watching for a little bit for a VWAP trade. That's what I use the 5 minute for. But on the 1 minute and the 10 minute, a dip down below, oversold, going into oversold, and then simultaneously coming out as the VIX comes out of overbought on the 1 minute and the 10 minute is the way that I use the VIX in conjunction with the SPY's RSI for entries on either puts or calls. And that's pretty much it. There's not a heck of a lot else that I have on watch today. Oil is doing its thing. Silver is doing its thing. A dip down in silver here, actually. Let's see. So silver's I really like silver. Trading silver so far has been good to me. I'm looking for, there's this range right here. You can see it's kind of bumping around the range on the daily, right in here, sort of in this consolidation zone. And so I'd like to see it pull back again, kind of flush out some of the weak hands, and then move up again. And so I don't have any positions in any of these things. I did have a position in B&O, and I actually let go of it a little bit too soon. I mean, I let go of it profitably, but you can see here it went above this gap and dipped back down through the gap again, and I sold there after I'd picked up, I think it was it was 5 contracts on B&O calls, and I got a nice run here. And when I was expecting it to break above this 1757 level and continue higher, but after it broke down below that level again on this day right here, I sold. But then, it's opened up higher and has continued to move higher. So I let go of those options a little bit too soon, but it's all right. I'll get another opportunity to buy in and make some money. Okay, so that's my morning strategy session, everybody. Good luck out there today. Keep your risk tight. Click like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you at the recap. I am out.